Hey guys, it's Jen from Jen's Soy Health. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer as well as a health coach. I want to welcome you guys to this channel. It is pretty new, so I wanted to kick everything off with a Q&A. So I asked people on my Instagram, both my personal and then also my health one, about things that you guys are struggling with, any questions regarding health, fitness, self-care, stuff like that. And I got some pretty good questions that I get quite often as well. So hopefully this helps you guys out with sticking to a routine, figuring out more about, your inner workings of your mind and everything like that. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to timestamp things on the bottom because I know how annoying it can be when you want like one specific answer and you have to watch the whole video. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. And yeah, let's get started. Question number 1 was, how do I learn to have more fulfilling diets/meals? So this is, I feel, a really common question when it comes down to people who have the goal of losing weight. Often people are told that, you have to cut carbs, you have to cut calories and stuff like that. And while that's true on one sense of the only way to lose weight is really to be in a calorie deficit, people often try to restrict too much. So I know in the case for me, I used to restrict my calories to like 1,200 a day. And that was like food and then fitness combined would be like under that. And that was cutting a lot. And I felt hungry all the time. I had food on my mind. And I was convincing myself that I like wasn't hungry, which was like the weirdest part. So in terms of like feeling fulfilled when you eat, oftentimes low carb diets don't work because our body craves sugar, our body craves those carbohydrates to keep us running. That is our main fuel source. So when you try to cut that down too much, you start to feel like kind of bad, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want like pasta or I want like brownies and stuff. And that just comes down to the fact that like our body runs on carbohydrates. So what I'd say to that is like try not to cut down so much on carbohydrates, but at the same time, you want to up your protein and your fat intake. Don't be afraid of fats, but the fats should be whole foods, like avocados, olives, coconut, stuff like that, because those real like fats, long chain fatty acids and stuff, they will take a lot longer to digest in your stomach, and they'll just like make you feel more fulfilled and satiated. Same thing with protein. Protein makes our bodies feel satiated. So you want to make sure you're getting high quality protein. So you don't want to go get like a burger or something because that's just going to be a ton of like oils and processed meat and stuff like that. Even if you're like vegan or vegetarian, getting a Beyond Burger or like Impossible Burger is like on the border of starting to be like less healthy just because it's more processed. But that being said, don't like restrict what you eat. If you're craving something, just watch your portion control and then watch the quality of nutrition. Okay. Yeah, so just take note of what you're eating as well and how you're feeling after you eat certain things. Depending on what you're eating right now, if your diet consists of, really simple carbohydrates and like low calorie foods, you probably aren't going to feel that satiated. So try switching that around. Change up your cuisines as well. If you're just sticking with like American food or just Chinese food or something, switch it up. Try like Mediterranean or like Italian. Try some more Asian cuisines. East Asian cuisines tend to be healthier because they just incorporate more vegetables and like whole grains, stuff like that. So give that a try. So question number 2 kind of goes along with this. Does cardio burn more muscle than fat? The short answer to this is no. This is a myth that has been circulating, especially around men's health, a lot. Cardio does not burn muscle because the way that the body burns fuel is carbohydrates first, then fat, then protein. So it's more about nutrition than anything else. If you feel like what you're doing in the gym or like outside the gym in terms of fitness is hindering your muscle mass gain and stuff like that is probably more so due to nutrition. So a few things with cardio though that you can do to help counter muscle atrophy or whatever is actually to incorporate like high intensity interval training, heavy weights, doing circuit training and stuff like that. So instead of just like running on a treadmill, which is steady state cardio, great for like fat burn or fat loss, but not so great in terms of building muscle. If that's one of your goals, then look into HIIT training where, you know, you might take like a 30-pound dumbbell and do goblet squats with those, or getting up on top of a box and doing box jumps. Stuff like that will help you build muscle while also burning that fat. So next question is, how do I prioritize health during stressful times like school, with work and midterms, etc.? Great question. I get this a lot because I work with a lot of college students. I also like am finishing up like, you know, higher education, stuff like that. So I can totally relate to this. You know, it's funny because I find people that are high achievers and are perfectionists struggle with this probably the most out of anyone else. And the reason being because we want to be perfect all the time. We want to like do our best in everything. It kind of disperses all this energy and focus to a little bit in every aspect of our lives, when really we need to refocus ourselves and prioritize the top 3. Okay, so think of it like this. You have 10 responsibilities that are 10 different duties during your everyday life or whatever. So let's say that you're in a couple club sports, a couple organizations on campus. You also work part-time. You're also a student. You also like maybe have a boyfriend or girlfriend, right? So instead of trying to put in like 100% into every single thing, really take it down a notch and ask yourself, what is the most important things to you? And once you figure that out, you're able to kind of refocus that energy from number 7, 8, 9 to 1, 2, 3. So if health, which I feel like it should be, if health is your number 1 priority or number 2 priority, which it should always be your number 1 priority, then it'll be easier to make those choices and make those compromises elsewhere in your life. So celebrate the little wins in that too. And, you know, if you're doing something for yourself, for your self-care, like doing a face mask, woohoo, celebrate that. You took some time off, or like you read for 5 minutes, you danced for 10 minutes to like these 2 new songs that just came out, you know, stuff like that. Celebrate it and find those little times in your day that you can do those things so that you keep your mind fresh and your body active. Figure out your non-compromisables as well. This is a tip that I think really helped me personally in my journey to be more balanced in my life. So my non-compromisables are like eating good food, for example. Eating good food and being physically active. So when I go through my day, those are 2 of my top priorities, is making sure that I feel nourished, that I'm having good food, that I'm also not like restricting myself in a sense of like, if I'm craving a brownie, I'm gonna go get a brownie if like I know I need this brownie. Or for fitness, for example, if I don't make it to the gym in the day for whatever reason, if I feel really drained, I'll come home and do some like stretches, or like even just doing high knees while I'm microwaving my dinner. Like I find some way to stay active. When you figure out your non-compromisables, for a lot of people it should be sleep as well, then it makes things easier. It also comes down to knowing that like if you don't do this thing for your health, you're not going to be able to function well in everything else. So if you're someone who needs 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, getting like 6 hours of sleep a night, you're just not going to be able to focus on your school or your career, your work life, personal life, everything like that. All that's going to suffer. Your mood's going to be all over the place. So when you find that one thing that it's like, if you don't do this, or you don't eat like healthy or whatever, if you don't do this one thing or two things, everything else suffers. So when you have those non-compromisables, you can prioritize them better. And okay, cool. Got those two out of the way. One of my responses to this question was wine, as what is your biggest problem right now or struggle right now? As funny as that sounds, I know that for some people this is a really big issue. And for this, it really comes down to building new habits to overlap those not so great habits. So for wine, I mean, stick to red wine, first of all. And, you know, you can replace these drinks with other things. So if you feel like you need a drink, ask yourself why, do an emotional check-in, and then build a habit around that might, like, help you move out of it. Or just, like, you know, reduce your intake, for example. But yeah, something like that is like kind of you know what I mean? Okay. Next question. So how do you stay positive about life, and how do you stick with a fitness routine? So two kind of different things, but actually do overlap. In terms of staying positive about life, for me, a life-changing perspective was being grateful, having gratitude in life. And being grateful, not as in like, oh, you know, I'm grateful that I'm alive, I'm grateful that I can walk, but like actually feeling soulfully content with the fact that, yes, I'm alive, and yes, I can walk. And understanding that that is a privilege to have, and being grateful to have those privileges. What I think a lot of people struggle with, myself included in the past, was kind of not feeling like you're ever doing enough, that you, or that, like, you know, other people have done bad to you. And so you have all these negative things coming in from other people, and a lot of times it's also yourself, with a lot of self-doubt and negativity about your body, about your job, about your schoolwork, about your performance, stuff like this. And finding a place of self-love comes down to being content with everything that you are, everything that someone else is, and everything that you do. If you can find those little bits of positivity or contentment in your life, you'll find that you become more positive. You become more resilient to all the negative things that might happen in your life, all the negative news that's out there in the media, because that's really hard to like not take personally for some of those things. And finding those little bits of, you know, that you're good with where you are right now, and having that gratitude will help you infinitely with being more positive. In terms of the second part of the question, how do you stick with a fitness routine? The reason why I say that this kind of goes into staying positive is because exercise really does release endorphins and dopamine, and people can really find solace in the gym or in a sport because those endorphins are coming in. Personally, like, it makes me happy to dance a lot, to go to the gym even. Like, I love weightlifting and stuff. It makes me feel really strong. It makes me feel good in my body. So those are things that I do because I know how it makes me feel. Sticking with a fitness routine isn't going to come from, you know, you have this body goal. It's going to come from the internal enjoyment of the process. So find something that works for you. And if you're struggling with even building routine, which is a big problem, you don't want to like injure yourself at all. If you're finding an issue with creating this routine, find a professional, find like a personal trainer or someone to guide you through it. They're going to be able to make sure that you have the proper form, make sure that you understand how to engage your core properly, stuff like this. And that's going to help you in the long run in terms of how sustainable your workouts are going to be. Otherwise, also find a friend to work out with, someone like to keep you accountable. even a group fitness class, which would be really fun for a lot of people. This gives people a lot of motivation. I teach like F45 and hip hop cardio, and it's really great to see like the regulars come in because they all kind of like know each other even if they don't know their names. But it's kind of like, staying accountable and everything like that. All right, and another response that I got to the question of what people are currently struggling with is getting a good night's sleep every night. This is a very common problem, especially during the school year. Currently, we're in the summer semester though, so having trouble with good sleep also comes from not having routine, going out a lot, having bad habits back in your life when you don't really have as many responsibilities day to day. So when it comes to getting good sleep, I find it really helpful to stick to a routine. So having a bedtime cutoff where you need to go to bed, that's going to be a big thing. Also, making sure that your bed is only for sleep. Okay, so what I mean by that is don't bring your phone to bed. Don't do it. Don't bring your phone to bed. Don't bring your laptop to bed. Don't bring like your study books to bed. You're not doing anything but winding down to go to bed if you're gonna go to bed. Okay, so I hear this from people all the time. I just had a conversation with one of my clients today, how, show like there's a difference between going to bed and going to sleep because you're on your phone on there for like hours on end, right? So don't bring your phone to bed. That's gonna help a lot. You need to reduce that stimulus. Read a book in bed, that's fine. Like a leisurely book, that's fine. Some people need that to wind down. Listen to some music. Make sure that the temperature is just right. And stuff like outside of that could be nutrition. Like if you have all those boxes ticked off, like, yeah, I have a routine. I go to bed at like 11 p.m. every night. Great. But if you're still having trouble sleeping, it might be because of your nutrition, about caffeine intake, if you're eating right before bed and stuff. Even if you exercise right before bed, some people have trouble going to bed because your body's like all revved up and everything. Taking a hot shower can really help you reset and get your body like calmed down enough to go to bed. Drinking chamomile tea, for example. And outside of that, I mean, if you're someone who takes naps, that could also be something that is affecting your sleep cycle. Taking odd naps during the day for too long, or for someone like me in general, like taking naps at all is gonna like impede my sleep and also my mood. So I just don't really take naps. I don't feel like I need them either. So those things just look out for. Comes down to like how aware you are of your body as well. So the last question for this Q&A is, how do you motivate yourself on those days that you just don't feel like it? This comes into play a lot, especially in fitness, in career. It's something that I still struggle with. It's something that I feel like everyone struggles with, because motivation is something that comes and goes. It like slips and slides everywhere. It's really hard to get a grip on it and like make it stay. So what I always say is motivation is great, and you can always find motivation in things like motivational videos, watching other people, talking to other people about your goals, stuff like this. Motivation is great, but what it comes down to for success is grit. It depends on how willing you are to stick it out on those days that you don't feel like it. Grit is the thing that really moves you and moves people to do something worthwhile. It's the reason why you do something, and that reason why is so important that you push through the not wanting to do it and just do it. Okay, because you're not going to feel motivated every day. That's just a fact. You can't. There's no way that every single person or anyone can be motivated every single day of their life and wake up feeling refreshed and feeling good and feeling ready to like take on the world and take on new challenges, because we like to feel comfortable. We're creatures of habit, where we like routine, we like knowing where things are going, we don't like uncertainty, and it's really hard to push past that wanting to be comfortable to do something that you know you don't want to do. But if you look at in the past with life, you've probably already done a lot of things that you knew you just needed to do, but you didn't want to do. For high school, you knew that you needed to study for your SATs and ACTs so that you could get into college if that was your plan. Or, you know, you knew you needed to go to work because you needed money to pay off your car or something like that. You know what you need to do, and when there's like such a big like pitfall of, if you don't do this terrible thing will happen, you're just like almost scared to go and like not do it, so you just do it anyways. And I'm not saying to go scare yourself into doing things, but figure out your why, and then if that's a worthwhile why to you, just get it over with. Celebrate the little wins. Do something small that will help you reach those big goals in the future. So whatever you're trying to find motivation to go do something small that like you know is achievable in that day, and then keep working on that. Because soon those little wins will add up, and then you'll have motivation and the confidence to take a bigger leap towards your vision, towards your goal. And by doing that, you're really going to be able to find the grit to keep going with everything. All right, guys. Well, that is all the questions I got for this Q&A. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name's Jen. You can go ahead and follow me on my Instagram at JenCui Health. It's JenCui Health. And I also have a newsletter that you guys can subscribe to on my website. It's www.jencui.com or jencuihealth.com. Both lead to the same page. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and subscribe to that. I write newsletters, kind of should be bi-weekly, but it's kind of more like monthly, about health and wellness, how you can, find self-care, find balance, the top problems that people face when trying to lose weight or build muscle, tips, stuff like that. So if that interests you at all, go ahead and subscribe to my newsletters. I'd love to follow up, and look forward to more videos like this, because I would love to talk to you guys more often and spread the word more about wellness. Anywho, thanks again for tuning in. Hope this helped you a lot, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.